Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, Vincent LaRusso and I are going to discuss the debut album from Boston. I know this album's held in high regards by so many people. Many people feel it's the best debut album ever. We give our opinions, our thoughts, and we look forward to hearing yours. All right, lots to cover in this episode, so let's jump in and let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today, I have with me my buddy, straight from off of the sun. Please welcome Vincent LaRusso.
Hola. Oh, here's the sun.
There it is. How are you doing this fine late afternoon?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yes. Dare I say, move the microphone a little. Dare I say I'm looking forward to this one maybe more than some others, just because of this is a little bit different for us.
This is definitely a little bit different for us. This started, I guess, a few weeks ago where we said, we do our look backs on albums, and we said we wanted to try to get each other, I'll say, a little bit out of our comfort zone. Now, it's not like you picked a folk album for me to review, so it's not like too far from my comfort zone. But we said we were going to pick albums for each other that are probably considered classic albums or certainly very popular albums, but maybe that one of us don't know every song on the album. So why don't you reveal what you chose for me? Oh, look at that. He's going right to the vinyl. For those who are listening and missing out on our beautiful faces, he is showing the debut Boston album.
And noted that it is not the, as people call it, the Michael Jackson Epic label. It is the Orangi Epic label, the Damn Sun, the Orange 70s. So this is an original, no J&R Music World sticker. Sorry. I think this is, I forgot who I got this in the 80s, probably from maybe my cousin or something. But yeah,
okay.
This is an original 70s pressing.
Very nice. Now, since you're showing off
no
the
barcode.
Album, no barcode. That is right.
Yeah.
Since you're showing off the album cover, I'm just going to start off by saying I freaking love that album cover.
Right?
It's simple, yet it's so freaking cool, right? It's the guitar kind of, I'll say, upside down, looking a little bit like a spaceship. It's just like just a really cool piece of art to me.
Absolutely. And I don't know if people initially pick up on all that, the whole guitar. People just see it, oh, it's a UFO,
Right. Yeah.
And what's cool about it is it's a guitar, but then there's like a city above the guitar, and like almost like a glass bubble.
I'll ask you this question.
Awesome.
For us as New Yorkers, is the band Boston your favorite thing related to Boston? Right, because we've been programmed to hate Boston, right? The Patriots, the Red Sox, the Bruins.
Yeah. It might be. It just might be. Aren't Aerosmith from Boston?
Yes, Aerosmith is from Boston.
Yeah,
but they're not called Boston.
True.
But
yeah, I would say again.
But no, I was gonna say, what made you decide to choose this album for me?
Great question. Great question. And this is one of the reasons why I chose this album.
Go ahead.
Well, let's just rewind very quickly, because usually you ask me, like, when did you first discover Boston? Or when? I'll answer that for you. I'm so excited, So I remember this album came out in 1976. I could get the exact date. Let's see this.
August 25th. It is the 48th anniversary this weekend. I don't think we planned that.
I can't take credit for.
Right.
Cannot take credit for.
Yeah.
6 years old, I listened to a lot of music, courtesy of my dad when I was younger. And the guy next door, who was a little bit older than us, I don't know if you remember, his name is Nino. He lived
Okay.
directly next door from us. He would come home with records all the time. And at that time, I may have been going to J&R Music World. I don't know, remember the time, because I know he was in the Navy, but that's neither here nor there. And I remember him bringing over this record for my dad to listen to. And my dad was like that. Not only did he buy his own music, but Nino next door would bring over music that he got to turn him on. And I just remember the first time hearing the record and hearing More Than the Feeling. And even as a 6-year-old,
Wow.
I knew it was a hit song.
Wow.
And we were all just listening to it, so impressed, And I'll get into some of the things of why I'm so impressed with this record. But to answer your question, why did I pick this album? Again, I don't want to beat up anybody who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay. But it's a goddamn shame this band is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I'll go through, we'll do our ratings, but I'll give you my reasonings by that.
Yep.
So I wanted to pick a record that I felt was, a band that in my mind absolutely should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because they don't have many records. Would they have three or four, Yeah, Don't Look Back, and they had Third Stage, and I think they had a couple after that, But those were, they basically went, periods of time without releasing records. They had the mid-'80s record Third Stage, and they had to hit Amanda on that record, But yeah, that was the one of the main reasons why, because I just feel like this band is one of these, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, REO Speedwagon, Foreigner. Well, the Foreigners in now. Did they get in? What?
No, I don't think they're in. I don't think they're in.
That corporate rock. I hate that term, and this is one of those bands that the Rolling Stoneses of the world labeled, and they just hated this band, So that was really the main reason. And, by me saying I'm excited about the record, I think, I like the record.
Yep.
Although when I drilled it down song by song, I said, well, how much do I really like the record? How does it add up? And, when we were younger listening to music, even though we crossed the same paths in a lot of ways, but there was a lot of music I listened to Rolling Stones, you didn't. I listened to The Who, you didn't. I listened to Led Zeppelin, you didn't. There was a lot of classic rock. You were never really a classic rock guy.
I was not.
Yes. You were more a pop and Kiss guy. You had Rupert Holmes, 45. I don't want to throw you on the bus.
No. Yeah. This is the late 70s. So this is why I'm glad you chose this album, because what I was going to say, and you just touched on a few of the bands. I started off as a Kiss fan in 76. And then I had some 45s, whether it was Rupert Holmes or other things like that. But I really didn't get into music, like bands and albums, until late 81, 82, when somebody gave me a cassette of Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz, and Diary of a Madman. And by that time, I was not into the Foreigners, the REO Speedwagons, the Bostons. They were just already, I'll say, all those hits were largely past already, especially when we talk about Boston, right? So, I mean, they put out this album in 76, the next one in 78. Then I think there wasn't another album until 86. So as I'm getting into music, Boston is non-existent pretty much. So for many years, I've known all the hits on the record, and I knew half this album beforehand, but I didn't know every album cut on this record. And so when you chose this, I'm like, well, I know so many people hold this album in high regard, and I want to talk about that in a moment. But I was like, I don't know every song. This is going to be a perfect opportunity for me to really sit back and let this album marinate. And I told you when you gave me this assignment, I'm not just listening one and done, because that's not fair to the album. It's not fair to what we do.
I give you credit
here.
for that.
Yeah.
I give you credit for that.
I listened to this album in the last 2 weeks 10 times probably. Right? Because and then there was some that I was like, oh, I don't like this, and I adjusted a rating, and over 4, 5, 6 listens, I was like, it's not as bad as I originally thought. Or there was a song I was like, oh, I think this is great, and I'm taking it down a notch or whatever, after things marinate a little bit. So I wanted to make sure I gave it its just due. And look, it's a short album. It's 38 minutes long or something like that. And it's 8 songs. It was easy enough homework assignment, but you expected me to just kind of listen one and done. And I was like, nah, I'm going to give this multiple listens over a 2-week period.
Okay. And I'm glad you did.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll say I'm glad I did also because look, yeah, as everybody knows on my Facebook page, I always post anniversaries of albums and songs and all of that. I just want to read some of the comments on this album the last year or two. And
Okay.
there's hundreds of comments, right? But this is kind of going to set the tone for what most people think of this album, right? So here we
Okay.
go. Just a few, just a little taste. Ken Kelman on my site said, the whole thing is a masterpiece that could probably never be duplicated. Pretty strong comment there. We know Super M, right? Hey, Super M. He said, great, from needle drop to dead wax. I love that quote.
Where were these comments? Where's these comments?
On my Facebook page. So every year when I post like the album anniversary, so today I said, I'm going to go back and read what people say about this.
I see. Okay.
You know, Mark James Melly said, the album is the definition of classic rock. So it's funny that you say, I wasn't a classic rock guy, but here's somebody saying this album is the definition of classic rock. Ginger Pollock said, what this album has meant to my life, I don't know. It's arguably the greatest debut album ever. That's pretty strong words. Tracy McFadden said, in my top 5 albums in the history of rock. And even Ron Keel chimed in and said, this is the textbook definition of a masterpiece. And there was actually a lot of comments about Foreplay and Long Time being one of the greatest songs ever written. And when we get to that, I'll let you know if I agree or disagree. But my point in bringing up some of these comments is that, and I could have chosen easily another 100 comments, on my site. They're all like this. 99% of the people out there hold this album in such high regard. And that's why I was so glad you chose this, because it's like, look, it's sold 20 million, 25 million copies, whatever it is. This album has been, held in the highest standard for decades. So I think it's a good album to kind of discuss and dissect.
I agree. And I was curious to where all those comments were going, or, there was going to be people who were actually, panning the record. But
I think that literally I looked over like a couple of years and I think I saw 1 or 2, not even negative comments, but just comments like, I think the album's a little overrated, something like that, but there was never a, gee, this album's not good. Yeah, it's amazing. Like I said, if there's 100 comments, 98 of them are just like what I just read to you. It's amazing. That's just what rock fans think of this album.
Yeah.
Let's see if we agree or disagree.
So I do see it did sell 17 million records. So
I saw 17 one spot, and then I saw 25 million somewhere else. So
it might be, United States.
Right.
Yeah, so worldwide is probably 20.
Probably 25 worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, this came out in 76, and it probably would get more talk, except that it's probably overshadowed by Hotel California, and Rumors, 2 of the best-selling albums of all time that came out like in a 6-month period right around this. Yeah, I know Rumors is early 77, but it's still right when this album's dropping. So I probably kind of gets lost in the shuffle for some people because of those 2 all-time classics.
Yeah.
Should we jump in?
We should jump in.
All
right.
Let's
before we even jump in, let's just talk a little bit more about the record before we go to the ratings.
Go right ahead, please.
Certain things I just want to comment on.
Go right ahead, my friend.
I feel like commenting up front before. It should be duly noted that Tom Scholz is a genius. Okay, not only for his songwriting prowess in this record, because he is, as far as I know, he is the single songwriter, right? And maybe Brad Delp wrote the lyrics.
I think Brad Delp had a couple of songwrites. I could be wrong. Double check me, but I know Tom definitely wrote a lot of it.
Yeah, and there was one song, "Let Me Take You Home Tonight." It was written solely by Delp, but Smokin and "Let Me Take You Home." I'm sorry. Wait, also let me read it, because all tracks written by Tom Scholz except "Smokin," co-written with Brad Delp, and "Let Me Take You Home Tonight," written solely by Delp. Okay. So not only is what I said, he's a genius, because this man developed electronics. Okay. He recorded this stuff in a Massachusetts studio. And I was reading and I kind of always knew the story about how they shopped the record, and how many rejections they got. And then they tried to go to another studio, but they just couldn't get the sound this guy got in his. And you could actually, you could Google it on YouTube, or just go to YouTube, where somebody shows, maybe Brad Delp not Brad Delp, I'm sorry, Tom Scholz goes and visited the house he used to live in, and they go into the basement, and you see how tiny this space was.
Right.
And he goes, "This is where my board was. This is where I had the drums." You know, it was this tiny, tiny space. Then you listen to this record, and I'm telling you, I've listened to a lot of music in my life. From, you know, the biggest bands to the smallest bands, to the hard rock, to metal, to the production on this record is groundbreaking. The
And
sounds.
didn't he lie to the label and say that they were doing it in like some professional studio and he was doing it in his basement, right?
California, yeah, right. Right. The guitar tone alone on this record is something he developed with electronics. And then in the 80s, he wound up heading a company called Rockman Electronics. Okay. And you want to know what the Rockman sounds like?
Right.
Listen to Def Leppard, Hysteria, and listen to the guitar tones on, like, say, on Hysteria, or that is used with this little box that was designed really to play with headphones.
Yep.
And had a lot of 80s bands use it. Even it's on Kiss records. I believe in it, even the solos, from what I understand. I could be wrong on this, but Mark St. John, you know, what he did, his solos was done in a Rockman. It's got that chorusy kind of sound. So not only was his innovations done to his record, but people are still chasing and buying products with that Rockman sound.
Why do you think his name is not as well known as so many other guitarists?
Well, like Eddie Van Halen?
Well, look, Eddie Van Halen's a much different style.
Because I think Tom Scholz, first of all, brilliant guitar player. Watch Boston live in Giant Stadium. I think it's 79. It's
okay.
I think part of it's in black and white, some of it's in color. I don't remember. And that whole, you know, intro for long play, that's all Tom Scholz on the keyboard. He was playing that live, and he played it on the record. So not only was this guy, and he played bass. The only thing he didn't play was drums, as far as I know, on this record. Right. I'm not saying he played on every song, you know, all the instruments, but I know on some songs, I think, except for the drums, he played everything. So that's why I say this guy. It's a good point. Why doesn't this guy get the credit? You know?
I think of like somebody like what's his name from Journey, Neil Schon.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows his name if you're into music, but I don't know that everybody knows Tom Scholz.
Well, I think if you're a musician, you kind of know more just because of the electronics end, and if you bought gear, right. People are very familiar, especially people from our generation who bought stuff in the 80s. Yep. I know even like a guy like Joe Satriani on his records used the Rockman. It's, you know, it wasn't even amplified. That's what's so crazy about it. It was this little box. But I think also maybe because, you know, like a Van Halen, like so many other guys, they didn't have, you know, 10, 12 records, you know, so his name wasn't always in the spot. Like Van Halen, every year they're putting out a record, or every 2 years they put, but Boston, it was like what, 76, then when the next record come
78, and then not again till 86, I think.
Yeah, right. So, you know, there's all these wide gaps, and and I think during that time he probably was working more with his electronics company and developing, you know, because they put out a lot of products, you know. So yeah, I think that's it. But I really wanted to talk about, you know, and it really never fails. From the moment the needle drops, so you put it on your I was gonna say iPod. Who's an iPod? Your, you know, whatever.
Puts a needle on their iPod.
Right. Well, I meant needle on your record. But
I'm gonna put the needle on the iPod, see what it plays.
You try it, see what happens. As soon as you do that, and you know, More Than a Feeling starts, and it comes in. And that guitar comes in, you know, and I hear that riff. It's still from moment when I heard that, it has never lost anything to me. It just, and we're starting with, you know, we're going to start with that song, and you're going to go first. Okay.
Yes, I'm going to go first on all the songs, so you can tell me where I'm right and where I'm wrong.
And, you know, I've heard the isolated tracks. I have the isolated tracks of some of the stuff with some programs. And you give your rating first, and then I'll just talk about some of the stuff about the track itself, because I don't want to, you know, spoil your thunder.
No. There's no thunder being spoiled here. So look, obviously everybody, I think, on the planet knows this song. I think I told you, even, you know, one of the times I was listening to the album, even my son was like, "Oh yeah, I know this song," and I was like, "How?" He's like, "I have no idea, but I know this song." Right? You'd have to live in a bubble not to know More Than a Feeling, you know?
Right.
I was thinking of this. Is there any other song that I could think of that fades in the way More Than a Feeling does? It's just such an interesting way to start an album to me, right? With a fade in like that.
Brilliant. Brilliant, right? That's a great point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I really sat there and I thought long and hard. Are there other songs I
Yeah.
can think of that fades in? I couldn't, I'm not saying it's the only one, but I couldn't come up with one off the top of my head. So
Yeah.
I'm curious if anybody else
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's a great song. It's a classic, do I say it's a 10 for me? No, it's not, but it's an all-time classic. I went with an 8 on this one. And then I'll say the really controversial thing here. I love the song. I think it's really good. I just gave it an 8. I think it sounds better like Smells Like Teen Spirit.
You think it sounds better?
Oh, you've never heard that story that people think that Kurt Cobain ripped off? Yeah, people think he ripped off the chords from this song and wrote Smells Like Teen Spirit.
I don't hear that at all.
Yeah, I don't hear it either. I asked my son, does this sound like something to you? And he's like, no, what? And I said that. He's like, no. But people have said that. So
yeah.
But I'll go with an 8. I think, look, let me say this for people who maybe are watching for the first time. This is the way we do our ratings, 0 to 10. 5 is the middle, 5 is average. Nothing wrong with 5. When you get to 7, 8s and above, you're starting to talk about your upper echelon songs. So an 8, you're saying it's in that upper echelon. I always use the example, if Stairway to Heaven is a 10, well, not every song could be a 10. Although I have a feeling you might disagree with me on this one and say what this one is. But that's kind of the grading that we use. Not every song in the world could be a 10. So that's my rating, an 8.
And then, as I said before, don't cross compare the ratings when I give a whatever number. But
I'm going to be forcing you to soon as I start to put together our lists.
Yeah, I know you're going to make some more stringent rules here.
That's or whatever right, exactly. But I'll let it slide for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, this song's a 10. I'm not even, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's one of the greatest songs ever written. It's an anthem. I love the lyrical theme about it. The vocal on this, like I said, I've heard. You don't even need the isolated tracks. Right. When Brad Delp sings, she slips away and he hits those notes, and I've heard the tracks and the harmonies. No auto-tune, no pitch control, no tricks. Unbelievable harmonies.
And Brad's doing all the harmonies himself, right?
He's doing all the vocals as far as I know.
As far as I know, he did all the vocals on this record also.
Yeah. It's just an incredible track. It's just, there's nothing that sounds like it before. And sorry, Nirvana, there's nothing that sounds like it after, or whoever said that. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't, look, I've never heard that for decades. And now all of a sudden I've heard it like 10 times in the last 5 years. Yeah. So
I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
All right. So you went with a 10. I went with an 8. Nothing wrong with that. Right. So should we go to the second song?
We shall.
Peace of Mind. Another one that I knew before I dropped the needle on the iPod.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is a song I've known for decades also. It's funny, in my mind, I was like, I almost wish like this was the first song on the album. I don't know why, but I just like as I was listening to the record over and over, I was like, this would be a good opening song on the album. But I guess it says a lot about just the strength of the first 2 songs on the record, right? I love the harmonies. You mentioned the harmonies in More Than Feeling. I love the harmonies on this. I think Brad, to me, is a vocalist. I know when I post about him on my page, a lot of people commented what a great vocalist he was. But there's another one that I just don't think he's mentioned enough. You were talking before about Tom Scholz not getting enough credit as a musical genius. I think Brad Delp's a damn good vocalist also that just doesn't get enough, shout outs, in like just in general. And so I want to mention that here.
Yeah, he's not usually mentioned of the great vocalists of all time for whatever reason. And I think it's just the output. They just did not have quite, they were not always in, on the charts, so to speak,
Yep.
Yeah,
and I love, and I'm into this type of stuff. I love the acoustic guitar playing that's like behind the guitar solo while he's playing it. Just the whole sound of the song is really good. I actually went with an 8.1 on this, slightly better than More Than a Feeling. I just had to go just a little inch above More Than a Feeling. I actually like this song a little more, just in case, because I told you at the forefront of this to put in an envelope that's sealed. What do you think my favorite and least favorite songs on this album was? I was like, well, I have to go 0.1 or 0.2 above in some cases, just to make sure there's no ties here. Not that I'm saying this is my favorite song on the album, so don't get excited if you put a Peace of Mind in that envelope.
Okay.
So go ahead, my friend.
This is another 10 for me. This is a no-brainer. Another no-brainer. I love the way, More Than the Feeling ends. And I don't think it's even completely faded out. It's like you still slightly hear it. And then you got that acoustic guitar, which I read that was like, I mean, it says $100 a Yamaha acoustic.
Oh, really?
That's 1975 money. So you do the inflation. So, but that's still relatively cheap, even for its time. Or probably a good acoustic, a Martin or something that probably costs 300, 400, 500. I don't know, you know. But again, this guy, you know, did more with less. I love this is a song that is currently in my rotation that I cover from a vocal standpoint, from the harmony solo together. It's just, and I love the guitar solo because it starts out, there's like this, it almost sounds like trading guitars.
Yep.
Solo, then it goes to the which is like in the intro of the song. Even the bass kind of follows that. I just love this song. It's just, I mean, what a 1-2 punch for a date. Let's just talk debut record again. You know, yeah. I just gave this. I don't think I've ever gave 2 10s in a row on any record.
I'm trying to think. You might be right about that.
Yeah. Now, just because of the placement of the songs on this particular record.
Maybe, but like, look, it's a solid placement, 1-2 punch on an album, right? I mean,
absolutely.
I went 8 and 8.1, and look, those upper echelon ratings. You went 10 and 10. It's a awesome start to a record. It's one of the reasons why so many people hold this album in high regard. Is I mean, these two just classic songs. You know, so right. All right. The next one, are we doing these individually, or are we going to do one rating? One rating for foreplay. Long time. Okay, good. I was glad because that's the way I did it, but I was like, oh, I have to adjust here. I
know it's coming.
Yeah.
I know it's coming. I knew it.
So you know, I'm not a fan of I'll call it like the prog rock sound, like the Yeses and those kind of that friggin' 60s and 70s organ comes in. I'm like, not a fan. And I knew this song also before I played the record a number of times. I don't know that I really made the connection that this was Boston, to be honest with you. I mean, even though I knew the song because it would come on the radio, I'm like, okay, next. You know, I just, but I could listen to it, like I said, multiple times. And I'm like, well, it's a well-written song. You just got to get that freaking organ out of it. It drove, in fact, Sunday night, I was driving home from dropping my son off at college. And I said, all right, let me listen to the album again. I'll listen to it in the car, blah, blah, blah. And I was in traffic and I get to this song. Like, freaking, this song's driving me nuts. Okay, put on something else. And I took the album off. I'm like, I need a break. And no, I can't. That damn organ just drove me crazy. But I went back and forth so many times on my rating with this because I'm like, but it's not a bad song. It's just that I don't like the sound of that damn organ. At times, the acoustic guitar parts in this sound a little bit to me like More Than a Feeling. I don't know why. It just has a little bit of that feel to it. But yeah, I'm gonna get crucified for this because, like I said, there's a lot of people on my page. This is the best song ever written, and that's why I put one of those comments out there. 4.9.
All right, that's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
not
well,
as bad as I
because
thought it was gonna be.
I like the choruses a lot. Those verses, and I know I keep repeating myself with the damn organ. Just I think if they took that out and they just played guitar in the song, I'd like the song a lot more. Yeah, exactly. There's elements of the song. There's things about the song I like, and that's why I struggled with this song. I went back and forth. The first time I rated it, I had it like it's a 3. I'm like, just take that friggin' organ and shove it up his behind, you know. But then I was like, no, wait, it's a good song. So I went back and forth on this one a lot, but I feel comfortable with my 4.9.
Now, just if you took foreplay out, if we have no foreplay, what do you give this? Just off the top of your head.
No, so foreplay actually annoyed me more than the song.
That's
right. No, but the verses of Long Time still have that like the organ going through it, and I'm just like, just stop it. Just stop it. So I don't know if it would change my opinion of this song. You know, the foreplay I actually like there's some great bass playing in that. You know, I'm like, oh man. Yeah, exactly. I love that. So, yeah. As he's doing that, I'm thinking of like the Pink Panther. I'm thinking of Batman. I don't know why I'm thinking like all these things. But it's cool. I liked it. But all right, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. No, I don't think my rating would change if you took foreplay off.
Okay. Okay, cool.
In fact, my rating could go down if I really want to weigh foreplay heavier.
Yeah. All right.
Now you tell me why I'm wrong. Because I know everybody else who's watching and listening is going to.
listen, no. All right. So my score, I gave this a 7.2. Okay. All right. I kind of struggled with this one myself because I realize its greatness and the organ doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
Not once, and I just felt like, all right, I thought about the chorus and the elements of it I like, and then I thought of More Than a Feeling and Peace of Mind, and I just felt like that was, you know, 2.8 points higher than this song. So I gave it a 7.2. Right? Did I say that already?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. That's good.
I think it starts at the upper echelon just because it's so iconic, the song, and I know it as the 1, 2, 3 punch of
Right.
this album.
Of course.
Most
Right.
people know it as the 1, 2, 3 punch.
Sure.
And it's just,
Like I
it's
said, I
got
knew all three songs beforehand, so I can
yeah,
understand that.
the theme of it, how it starts, and then at the, it has a, and then it gets that thing, it kind of goes to a wizard, and then you blah, 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 and that lead comes in. It just, his tone on his guitar is fucking incredible, and it's just how melodic. He's a very melodic guitar player.
Yes,
and that's what I love. That's what I love about him. So tasteful. So that's
I
why
found a lot of times I could sing his guitar solos, which I love. Which I
exactly.
love.
Yeah.
I had
So
that comment at the end of my notes, but I figured it was a good time to say that.
it is actually a good time. So yeah, I give this a 7.2.
Okay, I can understand that. And I think a lot of people, like I said, are certainly going to be on your end or higher than me. But like I said, I just I don't know if it's prog rock is the right term, but like that's what I think of when I think of like Emerson. You listen to Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That's right. I was never into it, and something about that whole sound sounds dated and old to me. And after listening to More Than a Feeling and Peace of Mind, it almost feels like a different band on this song to me. And I know if I remember right, I think there's a song he said he wrote like 6, 7, 8 years before the album came out. It was one of the first songs he ever wrote. And it sounds like that to me also, but whatever. Go ahead, people, crucify me. I know you don't agree, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, it was better than I thought you were going to give.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I had a feeling this was going to be one of your duds.
Yes. Well, we'll see if in the envelope, if it's the biggest dud you thought I would have or not. We'll see. All right. Should we go to the next song?
Let's do it.
Rock and roll band. All right. So I was like, all right, good. We're back to the straightforward rock and roll again. I was happy. But in fact, in some ways, this may be the most rock out song on the album to me. I liked it. The more I listened to it, the more it actually stuck in my brain. This is the first song on the album. I'll be honest, I didn't know this song ahead of time
at all.
No, maybe, and shame on me. Maybe I should have. I like the verses. The chorus is maybe slightly less than the verses to me in terms of quality. Obviously, they're talking. The lyrics are about them as a bar band or garage band, whatever you want to say, beforehand. So, I thought the thing was a cool song. I went with a 6.5 on this, just below the upper echelon territory of 7 and greater.
Yeah, I think it's a great theme. I like how the song moves. It's got a great feel to it. I think it's a perfect song to follow, foreplay long time. There's nothing I don't have any problems with the song. I just think it's right at the upper echelon. So I gave it a 7.
Okay, so we're right there in that same boat. I just felt like there was something I couldn't pinpoint something I felt was just like missing to make this a great song. It had I don't know what. I'm not a freaking songwriter, but it was good, but it just missed for me being great.
Yeah.
All righty. Smokin. Right, you had
Minus
nothing else. Without the boys' room, right? Smokin. So I felt this was a little bit, I don't know, ZZ Top-ish, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Again, this is another one that like kind of took me by surprise a little bit. It's kind
of like a tush type of thing.
Yeah. It just it had that 70s ZZ Top feel to me. I don't know why or what, but it did. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great to me. It was very average. Not a fan really of the chorus. And I'm going to take off a couple fractional points because that damn organ came back and did a solo in the middle of the song. I'm like, God, I thought the organ was a one and done, and here it is. It's doing a solo in this song.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
smoke. Smokin's supposed to have a smoking guitar solo, not a smoking organ solo.
Yeah.
So I dropped gets a couple of demerits for that. Okay, so I actually went with a 4.7 on this one.
Wow. Well, that hurts.
Yeah, sorry. I knew that might hurt some people.
Yeah. I love the vibe of the song. And you know, when you listen to the first, you know, 4 songs at this point, you're not expecting this like kind of boogie kind of like you know. And I love the feel of the song. You know, I love the vocals. I don't have a problem with the chorus. I think it's cool. Smokin', whatever, you know. It's just I gave this a little bit higher than Rock and Roll Band. I gave this a 7.5.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I'm not surprised. I remember seeing a few comments on my page. There was some people said this is their favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I guess I was never into 70s ZZ Top either. Although I do love the song Tush. I think is great. I would not give that a 4.7. But I just like I would have been at a 5 on this if that damn organ solo didn't come in. As soon as it did, I was like, okay, you lose a few points for that. Get that damn organ off this album.
Now I know what to get you for Christmas: a Hammond organ.
Yeah, exactly. So, all righty, should we go hitch a ride?
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Oh man! All right, so this is interesting because again, it's a little bit different. An acoustic song. It was I'll call it a nice little change of pace, but it just didn't connect with me. I'm sorry, it just didn't. And the damn organ came back again. It was like back-to-back organ songs. In fact, the first time I listened to the album, I'm like, this is 3 or 4. I'm gonna get ready to toss this damn album. Even though I wasn't listening to the album, I was listening to it on iMusic or whatever it's called, Apple Music.
Now I gotta find. Now my goal is to find a record that has that fucking organ that you love, and I shove it right down your throat. Throat, not throat. It's gonna stick it right down your throat.
My throat. Look, I know there's electric guitar solos at the end, and those were good, but I don't know. The song didn't connect with me again, and I know there's another one that's a fan favorite. I am sorry. I'm gonna go with a 4.6 on this one, just a tinge below Smokin'.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I like the song. Again, I like the whole album.
Right.
There's no Murder in High Heels on this record. Okay.
No.
I know we only got 3 songs left. Right. And I don't think it's average, this song. So I gave
it
a 6.
3 songs left or 2?
Well, including this one.
Okay, good. I was like, oh, did I miss a song?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't listen to the bonus edition?
Yeah, I got scared for a moment.
Yeah, I gave this a 6. I can't give it just an average rating, because there are elements of it that I think are great. It's got a cool chorus. Again, it doesn't sound like any of the other songs. I mean, yeah, you hear that organ or whatever, or things like that of some tones, but feel wise, it's different. So yeah, I gave this a 6.
Okay. I'm not surprised with your rating so far.
Okay.
All right, let's get to Something About You. So after the last 2 songs, this one starts. I'm like, oh, sounds like another ballad's coming. And I'm a little surprised at this point. And then it goes into a rock song. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Back to the rock songs.
Yeah.
And the more I listened to the song, the more I loved it. I was like, the best compliment I can give to this song, because I didn't know it beforehand, is I've wasted 40 years of my life not knowing this song and not having it on my playlist. I just, the more I played it, the more I'm like, the whole, like the chorus, it's a great hook. It ain't easy to show when I'm feeling like that whole lyric is like, I love like the guitar solo, and there's like the whoas in the background. Just the more, like I said, the more I listen to it, the more I enjoy the song over and over and over again. There's a few times I was like, I don't know if I want to listen to the whole album. I'll play Something About You, and it just, it got better with each listen. So I'm going with an 8.5 on this one.
Wow.
Yes. This is a Brunn song. I missed out on this song for 40 years. And I will say this, the fact you made me listen to the album front to back, and I didn't know the song, and I now do, made the listens and made suffering through Smokin' and Long Time worth the while. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting that something could exist in the universe, especially music that we've listened to a lot of, and you had no idea about it and could like
Yeah.
something so much.
Yes.
That's the wonderful thing.
Yeah.
It's the discovery and the rediscovery, and in this,
Yep.
for you, it's a discovery.
It's a discovery.
So,
Yep. 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 And I'll even say this. I love, it might have been my favorite part on the album. Like at one point, like towards the end of the song, the music drops out and he's like, I got to have you. And then, just the whole thing is great. Just great, 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 great. Probably give me another 2 weeks and I might go to a 9 on this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a really good song, maybe that didn't resonate as much as you. Maybe also, to be quite honest, the first half of the record I've listened to a lot more than I've listened to the last couple of songs. So as from a lifelong loving the record, sometimes it's just as in life, you just don't complete something,
Sure.
But yeah, I gave this a 6.8. I'm not quite as high as you, but it's it's higher than Hitch a Ride. Not quite as high as Smokin' and Rock and Roll Band. And I just think why I like those songs a little bit more, it's kind of the theme, the feel, whether it's the drums, whether it's the guitar, there's some of the musical things in there. Right. But I mean, still, 6.8 is nothing to sneeze at either. It's just right at the precipice of knocking on that.
Nothing to apologize for a rating like that. And,
Yeah.
look, I think you and I approach listening to music sometimes slightly different.
Mhm.
You're thinking of it from a musician's point of view. I just think, is the song fun or not? And in some ways, this might be the simplest song on the album in terms of the way it was written, right? And there's just something, look, that's why I like the punk rock stuff. Or give me 2-3 minute songs, give me simple and happy and feel good, and I'm in. And that's what this song made me feel. I challenged myself a few times. Do I actually think this, I like this better than Peace of Mind? And I was like, I think I do. Now, and I said, well, is it because I know Peace of Mind for 40 years and I'm just learning this? Could be, but the more I listen to this, the more I'm like, damn, this is good. Damn, shame on you, Mike, for not knowing this song for decades. Shame on you. You should give up your rock fan card. So there you have it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's go to the last song on the album. Let Me Take You Home. Another acoustic song, right? Surprised me, I guess, that they were closing the album with a bit of an acoustic song. I'll say I did like this better than Hitch a Ride. There was obviously, it had a little bit of a country feel to it. And it's funny because the last song, Something About You, and this one, there were elements of both of these songs that reminded me of your songwriting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's just parts of the songs. I couldn't even say, oh, this part of this, Boston song sounds like your song here. But there were certain things, the phrasing of the vocals just made me think of some of your songs.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes, saying that, and so I said the last two songs.
Saying that, I give this song a 1.
Saying that, I give this song a 0. No, but I didn't like on this song a little bit of the country feel. I'm not a big fan of country music, and it had a little bit of a country music feel to me. Damn organ snuck back in a little bit, but it didn't bother me. This one, it didn't, because it was more like subdued. It wasn't like the focal point of the song, but I just had to bring it up. Obviously, the song ends like on a harder note, but it keeps repeating, "Let me take you home tonight. Let me take you home tonight." And I was like, all right, it's an average song, so I went with a 5.
Okay. Well, I gave this a 6.5. This one, and as I said earlier, it's the only song written purely by Delp. I think it's a very well written song. I like that "Let thing." Tonight, let me take you home. How from where it starts, and it's I just think it's a solid song. Again, not going into the upper echelon of this record or in general how we rate things, but it I maybe I could go back and forth with this one a little bit with the 6.5. Maybe even 6. I don't know. You know what I mean? I could shave 0.5. I could throw it back on.
Right.
To me,
so split the difference. Go with a 0.25.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's a good idea. I'm going to do that.
That's why I'm here.
Because that 0.5 is like, it's 5, 6.5 is it's not 6, but all right. Okay. To put you, boy, I'll put a 6.25.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Look, to me, I understand why people consider this a classic album, right? And this got, to me, just like you said, the first two songs, it's hard to think of another album that has two classics like that back to back, you know?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
bona fide classics. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
songs that you love. I mean, these are bona fide classics.
Right.
The guitar playing, I'm glad you brought it up before, because I love the guitar playing throughout the whole album, you know? Like I said, I could sing along to the solos and all that. What I don't love about what keeps it from being a top 10 album for me, some of the songs sound dated, you know, and I hopped on that a little bit, so I'm not going to do it again, but yes, some of the songs just sound like they're 40 or 50 years old, and it
So
just
they
doesn't work.
are.
Because they are, yeah. But you know, but look, if you listen to More Than a Feeling and even like Something About You, they don't sound like they're 50-year-old songs to me. There's a couple of songs in the sound that just feel old and from a certain time period. And some people love that. I just I don't look, like you started off saying, I didn't really listen to 70s classic rock. And it's because I didn't connect with it, you know. But saying that, there's a bunch of great songs on this album.
Yeah, no, this doesn't surprise me. I didn't think you were going to love the record, you know. I knew there were some songs, you know, that you were going to probably roll. I didn't know about the organ, picking on the whole organ thing. Like, I didn't think about that, quite honest. But,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't think that you were going to be like, oh my God, like you would with that one song, where was this album all my life, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Because I just know generally what you like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these songs, well, some of them were out in the universe, you know,
Right.
that you've heard. So,
Yep.
but I was curious about some of the other songs that are, you know, that are on here to see
Mhm.
how you felt about it. Even myself, I didn't know, quite
Right.
honest. You
So it
know?
sounds like the biggest surprise for you with my comments is how much I liked Something About You.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's fair to say in your envelope, Something About You is not going to be the song that you said I rated the highest.
In the official Brunn comment.
The official Brad comment. So
Let's see.
I don't know what you put. I told you beforehand that I wanted, since this album was quote unquote new to me front to back, I said, I want you to say, how well do you know of Brunn? Right? We know each other for what, 45, 50 years now almost. How well do you know my musical taste? So let's see what you thought my favorite and least favorite songs were going to be on this album.
Okay. So what do you want first?
Go with favorite. Start positive.
I thought Peace of Mind.
So, all right, that was for a while my number one choice, and
Now,
it ended up number two.
8.1 as opposed to 8.5.
Yes.
I came pretty damn close.
Yes. And like I said, the first listen, Peace of Mind was my number one song on the album, you know. And then just the more I listened to Something About You, there was something about that just kept resonating. But I can't fault your favorite choice song, because, like I said, had we done this a week earlier, it might have been my number one.
Okay. And what is your least favorite song on the track? I mean, on this album?
I guess it was Hitch a Ride, right? I gave that what a Hitch a Ride. There it is. Look at, wow. Vincent knows his Brunn.
Right?
Come on, I came.
Come on now.
Wow. I did not think you were going to get that, because
Fave right there. Hitch a Ride.
Wow, I am impressed, because I figured the fact that it was an acoustic song, you'd say, all right, that's okay for him.
Nah,
what made you think that was going to be my least? Wow, I am shocked right now.
I thought you were going to think it's boring. It just didn't really move you. It just kind of was there, you know. Damn, I could have had 1 and 1 if I would have gotten that other one.
Oh, but
yeah, I would have never thought Something About You as number one. That you know. And I'm glad at least I got second, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I said, had we done this a week earlier, you might have been 2 for 2 there, you know.
Right.
Look, I like Something About You. Peace of Mind's a freaking classic, and what did I gave that, what, an 8.1 if I remember right? It's right there. It is right there. I wasn't sure if you would pick More Than a Feeling, just because it's such a classic, and you figured
no,
obviously Peace of Mind is a classic as well.
I just thought with that one it was too obvious of a choice. You, and I know how you are sometimes. Even though you gave that an 8, it was only a 0.1 difference.
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah, you know, I had to differentiate those first 2 songs slightly.
Yeah,
you know, but
yeah.
Well, this was, I have to thank you, like I said, for I don't want to say introducing, because I knew half the album already, and you know, even before I said I didn't know Rock and Roll Band, there's a few times like, did I hear this song before? And I just don't remember. Did I? But I'm gonna say I did not know it, but I felt like I knew half this album already. Even though, like I said, friggin' long time if it comes on the radio, I'm like, okay, next station, please.
Yeah.
Is there a Lady Gaga song on somewhere? Is there
Jesus.
Taylor Swift song somewhere? Come on, there's got to be something better than this nonsense. I just at one point I was like, is this going to be my lowest rated song on the album? Because that drive home when this song came on, if I could have thrown my friggin' iPod or whatever I have in my phone out the window to get the damn song off, I was like, I can't. This friggin' always driving me crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was enjoyable. So next up now will be my homework assignment for you, which we won't tell people what I've chosen.
That's right. That's a surprise.
That's a
Although
surprise.
I think it's very close to me right over here.
I'm sure it is. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're not going to give 10 listens like I did.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think the album's good, but just with my time. That's all,
Look, you could end up saying that the album sucks. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's what makes this enjoyable.
I'll be fair.
To me, you and I always have very similar ratings on things, very similar opinions. So we're trying to find things that perhaps we're not 100% aligned on because it makes it more exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
What was the overall ratings for this album? Where did they fall?
Hold on. The overall
Get
ratings.
your calculator out.
Here we go. No, I already. My total was a 7.594.
7.594. Nice.
Which comes to a 7.6 really, and yours was a 5.03.
After we recorded the episode, we realized that my overall rating should have been a 6.29, not a 5.03. So that's my overall rating, 6.29. And you are like 99% of the population. You're entering that upper echelon area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guaranteeing you when this comes out, people are going to unsubscribe from my page and say, this guy's a nut. And they're going to say, Vin, when are you starting your own page and your own show? And you got to find somebody else, maybe get Super M on with you or whatever, because, I think that I'm not saying that's going to happen, but, I feel very confident that a majority of people are going to side with you, but it's an interesting album too, because there's such high points on this. There's a few songs I think are freaking great. And then just some songs I don't connect with.
Yeah. And I kind of figured that was going to be the case.
Yeah. I'll say this. In my mind, it is not the greatest debut album of all time.
No, I'm not saying that either.
Yeah, but so many people feel like that.
I know.
So many people do. And look, there's those first 3 songs of bona fide classics. Take my opinion and put them to the side. I understand why people say that, but 8 songs, a couple of average songs on it. It's not the all-time greatest debut album. This is no Van Halen 1 to me. Sorry.
I agree.
No Appetite for Destruction, but
I agree.
Just my opinion. Anything else, my friend?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, this was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, me too.
And I look forward to your homework assignment.
Okay.
I went running today. I already listened once. So even though I know the album front to back.
You're very well versed. Yes.
I'm very well versed, but I look forward to doing that. I look forward to reading all the comments. Let everybody, when you comment, what's your favorite and least favorite song on the album? Are you a Brunn?
Right.
Are you a LaRussa?
Yeah.
Or are you just your own person?
Hopefully they're their own person.
Hopefully they're their own person, right? Right, because
Yeah.
all opinions are valid. So I look forward to seeing those comments. As always, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time, let's hitch a ride. Get on out of here. Hey. All right, later, everybody.
Double Fonzie.
Double Fonzie. All right, later.
Later.
All righty, there you have it. We look forward to reading and seeing your comments on the debut Boston album. I know a lot of people love this album, so I really look forward to reading your comments. As always, all opinions are welcome. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.